was fast. Live already. Thing didn't waste any time today. What's up, folks? How are we today? Here we are. Another day in paradise. Yep, it's Wednesday, hump day already. Wait a minute, didn't I just do this yesterday? I did. I did just do a video yesterday. Let my car cool off for me. It's hot today. It's it says it's 94 outside. Hey Ashley, what's happening? I saw your post about the tattoo you want to get. I wouldn't worry about what everybody has to say about it. If you want it, do it. I don't know if I would get it on my lower arm like that or not. I'd probably get it, like up around my shoulder or on the front of your shoulder right here or something. I got all these here. I mean, there's times when I'm like, man, I really shouldn't have done that. But then again, I think about it, and it's pretty damn cool. Definitely gets a lot of looks, that's for sure. Yeah, I think for your first one, you need to get it somewhere where you're not going to feel it a whole lot. You know what I mean? Like most of this area up in here isn't too bad. Or up around, like right on the back of your shoulder. You know what I mean? That's not too bad. I don't know. I would say maybe like the inside of your wrist right here isn't too bad. Depends on if you got somebody that's heavy-handed or not. Am I a what? A wicking? What the fuck is that? Fillmore. A wickinger? I have no idea what you're saying. Is that some kind of new terminology that Generation Y or Z or whatever they is made up? Is that supposed to be an insult? I mean, who is that? Wickinger 33, Wickinger, Wykinger, I don't know. How do you pronounce that? Oh well. Well, I don't know what to ask you if you are, because I don't know you. But, okay, whatever. A Viking? No, I'm not a Viking. Although my ancestors came from Scandinavia, but no, I'm not a Viking. Thanks for asking, though. I don't even know your name there. Whatever your name is, hold on, I'll give you a shout out. Fillmore 3333, Fillmore 3. I used to go to a place called the Fillmore, but it was a concert venue back in the late 80s in Charlotte, North Carolina. Well, what's happening? Need to teach your phone how to spell, man. They say that these phones are supposed to be smarter than us, and I think that a phone is only as smart as the person who makes it the design or, puts the data entry in. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's my daughter. No more. The Ashley girl. Yeah, I'm her daddy. Yeah. It's all right, Ashley. You can just let him talk or whatever for now, unless he decides he wants to say something rude, and then you can ask him if you want. I don't care. He doesn't seem to be trying to cause any problems, so we'll just leave it at that. Anyway, man, that was close. That big old truck came really close to my car. I was sitting at a stoplight, and I look over to my left, and there's a big truck bumper like right beside my door. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute here. What the hell are you trying to do, dude? Turn that wheel to the right some more. Yeah. Okie dokie. So anyway, Ashley, I think if you want to get a tattoo, you want to get something small, okay, to start off with. You don't want to get anything that's going to be big or gaudy. You know what I mean? Like my very first one was a wizard on my left arm. Or was it my right arm? No, it's my right arm. I'm sorry. And I really should have gotten something, you know, a little smaller. But, you know, I thought it was cool being that I was a teenager when I got it. And I wish I'd have really gotten a different design than I got. But, you know, it's there. But you have to remember those things are permanent. You can't just, you know, that's like you can't wash those things off with water. It would be my first tap in chicken when it comes. Well, and that's why I'm telling you to get it somewhere where you're not really going to feel it much. You know what I mean? Like, don't get it on your ribs, because God knows ribs are terrible. I mean, they hurt really bad. Personally, I don't have any on my ribs, but I've heard people say that, you know, ribs and over here, this is where all your nerve endings are, and you don't want to get it there. I got 2 on my chest. Those aren't too bad. The ones on my back didn't hurt until I got to the middle, you know, where your spine is. I do have one directly in the middle of my spine. That one made me think about it, but I went through with it anyway. I was sweating like hell when they did that one. Yeah, tattoos are addictive too. If you get one, see, here's the thing about tattoos, okay? So first of all, yes, it's permanent. Number 2 is that wherever you get the tattoo that you plan to get, whether it be, you know, on an arm or a leg or whatever, actually, you know, the back of your calf probably wouldn't be a bad place for that one. I mean, if you wear shorts a lot, people will see it, but if you don't wear shorts, then nobody's going to see it. But anyway, so then you have to even it up. You know what I mean? Like I felt kind of unbalanced when I got this one here. I got that one in Gastonia, North Carolina. And when I got it, I didn't have anything on this side. So I had to go get that to fill that space. That's the mushroom head emblem guy, smiley or whatever they call it. But, so you got to think about that too. If it's, you know, you're going to want to even up. You know, but are you willing to go you're going to have to be real tattoo artist and let them know, go, hey, look, this is my first tattoo. You know what I mean? Because I don't know how to describe the feeling. I guess it's like a continuous bee sting, you know, like a bee is stinging you over and over again. That's basically what it's like. But once you get past the outline's the worst part. You know, that's when they put in the heavy black. And that's usually done with a single needle. And depending on who your artist is, if you can find an artist that will give you really fine lines, that's what I would suggest. You know, somebody that's, you know, not heavy-handed. There's a lady in Charlotte. Her name is Nikki Thompson. N-I-C-K-I or N-I-K-I Thompson. She's over by that Harley Davidson place on Independence Boulevard. She does really good work. As a matter of fact, she did that one for me. This here, she did that one for me. And she was, you know, even though I had tattoos and, you know, everything, she was real delicate. And she talked me through it, even though I didn't really need it because I knew what to expect. You got to find somebody too that, you know, that you're going to go back to. You know what I mean? You don't, like all my tattoos, unfortunately, there's only 2 of my tattoos on my body that were done by the same person, and that's the ones on my forearms. But I'm driving and I can't really show those right now. Like I showed that one right there. and there's, well, this one. Those two were done by the same person. So you gotta find an artist, a tattoo artist that you don't mind going back to. This is probably the worst one I have right here. That was done in somebody's freaking living room, and it was a guy that was just starting out. It kind of looks like a cartoon character, and it's probably the worst one I have. Well, except for that angel on my back. That one was pretty shitty too, but I don't have to look at it, so it's no big deal. You know what I mean? But find somebody you're going to be comfortable with. I would just shop around and ask people who have tattoos. Hey, where'd you get that? And look at their lines. If they have really nice fine lines, that's really what you want. You don't want like gaudy fat lines. You know what I mean? Because that kind of takes away from the enjoyment of the look or whatever. Think about your colors too. What colors are going to accent you? You know what I mean? Like most of mine are black. I've got a little bit of red here and there. I've got some purple. I got some green, some browns. But like what color is going to make you proud to show it off? Chicken one tattoo. Yeah, I know. Needles suck. But, the very first one I got when I was 14. I think I was 14 when I got my very first one. And, you're not really supposed to get tattoos at that age, but it was my Uncle Frank that did that tattoo. And that was many, many years ago. I was in with a tattoo. Junior high school. I had a full-blown tattoo. I sure did. But and keeping it clean is important too. You gotta keep it moisturized. You can't use anything with like fragrances in it. You can't use anything that's going to draw the color out. You got to use. I use some stuff called tattoo goo. And it comes in a round container. It's about this big, and it's about that tall. And you just take 2 fingers, and you get your fingers good and saturated with. It's kind of like a lotion, waxy lotion. You put it on there, and it protects it, keeps it from getting dirt and stuff in it. And then when you take a shower, you don't wash it with soap. You pat it with the soap, and you put the water, like, if you're taking a shower, you put the water above it and let the water just run off of it. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to wash the colors out. You got to make sure you keep the scab, let the scabs do what they're going to do. You can't go picking your scabs because that'll fuck them up too, really quick. So, I mean, there's a lot more to consider than just having it put on, you know what I mean? But you decide what you want. It's ultimately up to you, Like I said, I really think that if you've never had one, you should really get one that's small to begin with. You know what I mean? It'll be better for you in the long run, and less noticeable. You don't want to put tattoos like on your neck or in your face or anything like that, because you got to think about employers who any reputable company or any company that is smart, they won't hire people that have tattoos on their face or their neck or anywhere that any kind of thing that's evil or anything like that. Companies kind of frown on that, unless of course you're like an auto mechanic or something, but I don't foresee you doing that for a living. Body is my temple and I respect it. Okay, well, yeah, you should. All right, here we go. my plug for the day is, again, Mountain Dew Kickstart. There we go. Black cherry again. It was good and cold about an hour ago, but I haven't finished it yet, so I'm going to take a swallow here. I know this is not good etiquette, but you'll get over it. I got 3 people watching. Where'd Fillmore go? Is Fillmore still there? Is he still watching? He or she? Am I a Viking? You know, that's funny that a person asked me if I was a Viking. I usually get the Big Lebowski. As a matter of fact, there's a guy named MAGA Meat that comes in every now and then. And I haven't seen him in a few weeks, but he calls me the Big Lebowski. He's a trip. He likes to tell jokes on my feed. You know, I don't mind. That's fine with me if that's what he wants to do. But he seems like a pretty cool guy. He's from out there in California. You know, where, what's his name? Gavin Newsom is the governor out there. Boy, he's really fucking that state up. You know, in California, I was listening to J.D. DeLay or J. DeLay or D. DeLay or something like that earlier. He does a lot of like commentary video. And he was saying in California now, when you get a speed ticket, it's not like a set rate. You know, like it used to be like, you know, if you were going 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, they charge you like $100, like $10 an hour or $10 per mile an hour or something like that. Or there was like a set rate. Now, instead of doing that, they're going to do it based upon your income. I'm like, what? Based on your income? How are they going to base a speeding ticket on your income? You know, I mean, what are they going to do? Like a background check and, you know, check your financial status or what? You know, I mean, like, if you're on welfare, are they going to, you know, just let you have the ticket for nothing? Give you a warning or something? I don't know. But anyway, you know, that's the silliest shit I've ever heard in my life. You know, not being equal. You know what I mean? Those people out there in California are always talking about, oh, we want equality, we want equality. But then when you try to, you know, do things that are equal across the board, they don't want to do them anymore because it, you know, it's like stepping on their toes or whatever. I don't know. Anyway. That's my story I'm sticking to. You have no money, you're broke. Yeah. Well, you know how to fix that. I'm not going to get into that with you because I've already told you a million times how to make money, but, you know, that's up to you. One of these days, you'll decide to come around and you'll do your thing and I won't have to bitch and complain no more, you know. I've talked till I'm blue in the face and that's all I'm going to say and I'm sticking to it. Okay? I know how I make my money. And what I do is not hard. It's just time consuming, and you know, it's you have to use your brain. You know what I mean? It's very repetitive. But I get to take photos during the day. I get to play on the computer. Well, I don't play on the computer, but you know, computing is part of my job. You know, data entry and uploading photos and, you know, filling out paperwork and stuff with a brain job, you know. I've noticed that when I first started working for this company, I was pretty physically fit. I did a lot of, you know, like moving around, lifting heavy objects, using hand tools and stuff like that. But as time has gone by, when I got this job as the inspector, I do move around quite a bit, but I'm not lifting and bending over and, you know, using my hands as much anymore and stuff like that. So I put on quite a bit of weight. I mean, I'm 6'2", and I weigh 245, which is, you know, pretty normal, I guess, for somebody my size or my height anyway. But it's, you know, I was 150 pounds soaking wet, and up until I was like 41. But it wasn't until after I quit smoking cigarettes that I really started packing on the pounds. But anyway, Man, these people are driving crazy today. What's up? And it's only Wednesday. I got 2 more days of this shit to go through today, this week. Man. So while you guys are on, you 6 people, you guys want to hit that subscribe button or hit the like button, feel free to. If you don't want to, that's fine too. I don't care. If you want to shout out, just type, down there at the bottom, hello Jim, or, piss off, or hey wanker, or, whatever. I'll give you a shout out. It won't cost you anything, but, a couple of seconds of your time. I've got some really cool videos and content on my channel. Feel free to stop in anytime. I do lives Monday, Wednesday, Friday, around this same time of the day. If you like what I got to say, come back and see me, and if you don't, well, that's up to you. I don't talk about politics, or I try to stay away from politics. It's hard though, you know what I mean? And religion. Politics and religion are 2 things that there are plenty of other people talking about. You don't need to hear from me too. Okay, I'm done talking about that now. On to the next subject. So I was watching this video. I don't remember if it was on Instagram or Snapchat, but it was this chick driving this car, and she was raging about something. I don't know what it was, and she apparently had to get into brakes pretty hard and pretty quick, and she ended up wrecking her car. But it's like if you watch her face, I don't know the link or whatever, but I'm sure if you look up raging woman wrecks her car or something like that, you'll be able to find it. But you can tell the instant that she knows that she's fucked up, her whole expression changes on her face, and she gets that look of fear, and she's fighting the wheel both ways. It's funny as hell. But that's what happens when you get these raving lunatic liberals that want to act like a fool behind the freaking wheel of a car like that. You know what I mean? But she paid the ultimate price, and I think her car actually ends up up on its side somewhere on a street or something. I'm not really sure. You're procrastinating for a while. What are you procrastinating about? Oh, I know. Never mind. That's all right. You get that honest, Ashley. I'm a procrastinator too. If I'm in a position I know something doesn't have to be done, like right now, I don't do it. I mean, I'll get to it when I get to it. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to go out of my way and bust hell wide open to do something if I know I've got some time. You know what I mean? Or if it doesn't have to be done like right now. Now, the only times I really do not procrastinate are like first thing in the morning. I have to get out of bed because, as soon as I turn the alarm off, I'm out of bed. It used to be when I was younger, I'd lay around, for 10 or 15 minutes or whatever and be like, I don't know about this shit today, and I don't know if I want to go to work, and then, but I lost a couple of jobs because I was constantly late, I always showed up, but I was always late. Companies frown on that shit, especially when you're in the construction like I was. Those guys have a deadline to meet. If they don't meet those deadlines, and because their employees are not there, then they're not going to keep you as an employee. You know what I mean? So as soon as I wake up in the morning, I'm out of bed. I usually let the dog out first, and then I go take a shower, brush my teeth, take a shower. When I get out of the shower, I let the dog in and I feed him, and then I start my coffee pot. I got to get my water warm so I can make my coffee, because I use one of those French press things. It's a canister. You put the coffee in, and then you put the water and you stir it with a spoon, and then there's this cap that goes on it like this. It's got a plunger on it, and I usually let it sit for about 5 minutes, with the plunger up, and then I plunge it down, and then I put I don't know if any of you guys, I think it was yesterday, I was talking about, sugar and high fructose corn syrup and all that bullshit, they put in the food. I use raw honey to sweeten my coffee, and I usually just fill up, like, the bottom part of my cup I just cover the whole bottom of my cup, and that's generally enough sugar, or honey, to sweeten it like sugar. And then I use that. I use some crap to like. I like to fit the half and half creamer, but it doesn't. The half and half. I don't know what it is about that stuff. It doesn't last very long. So I've been using some of that. I don't know what it's called, Daisy Maid or something like that. It's French vanilla. Yeah, French vanilla. And I put that in my coffee. So it's usually, with the honey in there, and then, with the creamer on top of it, it's usually pretty sweet. I used to not be able to drink coffee unless it tasted like molasses. So if I had like an 8-ounce cup of coffee, I would put like a teaspoon of sugar per ounce, you know what I mean? And then I'd put a bunch of creamer in it, just the regular, half and half stuff. And but it always upset my stomach. But I didn't realize it was because I was being a dumbass and putting all that sugar in there. You know what I mean? I mean, coffee used to be almost like a laxative for me. You don't drink coffee much anymore like you used to, but the tea is still, you still drink a tea. I don't drink tea very much anymore. Like if I go out to eat, I drink tea, but that's usually the only time. You love French vanilla, coffee creamer. Yeah, I do too. And I think I think it's Coffee Mate that I use. There's some other kind of shit that I got like in, I don't know, it was like Dollar General or Family Dollar one time. And that shit was like molasses. I mean, it was really weird. And it was French vanilla, but when I poured it, it was like freaking molasses, or like a real thick, like K-Rose syrup or something coming out of the bottle. I was like, I ain't putting that shit in my drink no more. It was hard to regulate the right amount anyway. But I like my coffee and my creamer. I drink Death Wish coffee. It's organic. So they say everything that's organic is supposed to be good for you. I got mixed feelings about that, but my health seems to be a lot better since I've been doing the organic thing. And then every once in a while, like if I get tired of the Death Wish coffee, I'll drink like Black Rifle or another company called Mississippi Mud. I like the Mississippi Mud, but it's got kind of a weird taste to it. And I don't know if the Mississippi Mud is actually organic or not. It doesn't say it on the package. That's usually what I look for. I know that Death Wish and Black Rifle are both organic. What do I mean by organic? I mean that, organic food and organic things like that are not supposed to have had any chemicals added to them, or any, like, your vegetables and stuff haven't been sprayed and all that. They just, they pick them, they wash them, and they, put them in package, and then they send them out. You know what I mean? All right. My turn. They got this great big hole here. Really weird. They had to dig up a water main. I had a water main break on my street. Well, not on my street, but on the street that I use a lot. And it's right at the intersection. And they filled it. It's like the second or third time they filled it in. But I guess the ground's still settling. So now there's a great big hole there again. So I try to avoid that hole. It's really tough going out in the mornings, because I drive out and around it because it's like right in the middle of the lane where you make the turn. And it's just wide enough that I can't straddle it, you know what I mean? So one of my tires always hits it anyway. Let's see here. Okay. I wonder who's having a yard sale. Who's having a yard sale like during the week? That's what I want to know. Well, I got to go to Costco. I got some orange juice from Costco last week. Now you buy in bulk, right? So at Costco, so I had 2 containers of orange juice, And when I go get orange juice, I usually get the organic orange juice. I get the stuff that has no pulp in it. It's not supposed to have pulp in it, and no added sugars. So this weekend, Dee was cooking orange chicken for this Oriental dish she likes. Orange chicken. Well, she needs some orange juice, and when she went to open the orange juice, it was almost like the freaking orange juice was carbonated. And so she went ahead and cooked with it. And, after we got done with dinner and everything, I was like, well, I'm going to taste this. So I took a little small glass and put some orange juice in it. And I drank it. And it was like really sour, like it had fermented. So, and it's in those plastic bottles, the ones that have like the bottoms of them are concave or convex, no, concave. So now they're convex, which means that the bottom of the bottle looks like a U. So I got to take it back to Costco. Let me see if anybody else is coming in here. Let's see. Fillmore. Yeah, Fillmore left. I guess he or she didn't like what I was talking about. But anyway. So luckily enough, I've got my Costco receipt. So I got to make a trip to Costco this evening. Dee's not off work till 6. So that'll give me a little time to get done what I need to do. But anyway, okay guys, well it's been 30 minutes. It's been real, it's been fun, but it hasn't been fun real. You guys take it easy. Ashley, good to see you in there, baby. I love you. Have a good evening. And let's see, I won't do a video tomorrow, but I'll be back on Friday. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell the people that are on your page if you have one. Hey, Jim Earhart's going to be on Friday, okay? Y'all take it easy. We'll talk to you again soon. Peaces.